Hey, this is Vic. I am the producer of Busy Dads Do Sci-Fi. I am also known as Producer Vic. For those of you who are fans of the show, you have probably heard me before. I just want to let you know that you can find out more about Busy Dads Do Sci-Fi and Kevin and George and all that marvelous stuff by going to busydadsdosci-fi.com, or you can give them a follow at Instagram at Busy Dads Do Sci-Fi. Kind of marvelous, isn't it? The way it's all Busy Dads Do Sci-Fi. Oh, which reminds me, you can also email us at busydadsdosci-fi@gmail.com. And, if you want to subscribe to us, we're on iTunes, we're on the Google Play, the Google Podcast. We're also on Spotify, which is kind of amazing. I had to cook up a special deal with them for that. But, maybe drop by, give a subscription, and if you really like us, you could give us a rating or even a review, and hey, that'll keep us all in seltzer and ice cream, which the boys love, And that's all we're trying to do is bring you the best sci-fi podcast delivered by a couple of busy dads, And of course, me doing my part, producing, and being named Vic. Thank you very much.
Busy daddies do sci-fi. Busy daddies do sci-fi. Busy daddies do sci-fi. Busy daddies do sci-fi.
We did this already.
No, dude.
Well, we did.
Well, what do you mean?
I mean, we this has already been done. What we're going to talk about.
Everything's been done.
Right.
And by the way, you're not just going to jump in right now, are you?
Well, no, I'm not going to just
can't.
jump in, but I'm just letting you know that everything that happens after I speak right now is a complete waste of time.
No. Hey, George.
Do you believe that?
There's a wind-up. The listeners demand a segue. They know that you got to bring us into this episode, and that spirit is not really going to work.
No, you're right. All right, I'll really...
So, pep it up. We didn't do this before.
No, we didn't. Do you believe that? Do you believe that everything has already been done? That whole thing that Shakespeare wrote every story that needs to be...
Oh, totally. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
Yet here we are tonight. I mean, and when we do finally reveal through some sort of genius...
The reveal.
Sugu into what it is that we're talking about.
Speaking of
we're
Sugu,
there's some
about Sugu all over this one.
There is a whole lot of goo.
Yeah.
Many types of goo. Frothy, sometimes gelatinous goo.
Mm-hmm.
But Shakespeare did not write a story like this.
I mean,
I'm
not going to argue for the case of that.
Alternate realities?
The stories have been told. Alternate realities, which reminds me, I never read any Harry Turtledove. He's like the king of alternate realities. Do you know Harry Turtledove?
He does the whole, no, I mean, my alternate reality is more like, the one that I choose to live in.
I was about to say, man, let's not confuse fantasy.
Where I still have a full, like, glorious head of hair. The body I had when I was 25.
You do bald well. Listeners, I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of us on the internet, but you have one of the best wigs I've ever seen. It looks so natural, dude.
I appreciate that. It's all Shatner. That's the name of the brand. It's all Shatner. Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me that he would have a wig company with a straight face.
Yeah, he could own that.
He
too.
Probably does.
Yeah.
Like, has he ever done infomercials or anything like that?
He used to do commercials for Progressive or something, insurance.
That's right, but that's late. This has all been done. All been done before.
This is everything that we're doing has been done before, and it'll be done again.
I think I don't think that argument can work any longer.
I agree.
Who says that? People in college say that.
The problem is it's all been done. And
yeah,
people in college say that. That's your argument against it.
No, that's like the people who come up with that. Like, It's all been done before.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and what if Shakespeare didn't say everything's all been done before?
No.
You have to say Shakespeare probably did this all before.
Yeah, that's
so
the
we
one.
boil these things down.
Exactly.
So boy meets girl, like it's been done before.
Right.
Yeah.
Boy meets girl. Boy and girl kill each other in an unknown suicide pact while their families are warring. It's been done a million times before.
So I saw Kurt Vonnegut lecture.
Like recently?
No.
Okay.
Speaking of alternate realities, he described it was awesome. It was at the University of Maine and Bangor, and I had read all his stuff that existed, except maybe for just a couple of the late ones. And he got up and described to a room full of college kids in his essay the basic storylines. And he just said, man falls in hole, man gets out of hole. That was one of his ones. And then he said, there's one, he said, man falls in hole, and then he drew an infinity sign. And he goes, and that just happens forever. And that's the Metamorphosis by Kafka.
There we go.
And he was good. He's sci-fi.
He's been sci-fi. He's been many things, though, right? He's what you'd call cross genre.
Is he?
Yeah.
How?
Well, he's not just sci-fi.
I've kind of always thought he was sci-fi.
Yeah, but he does essays and stuff too. I mean,
Oh, well, but essay. You know what? One essay book is called like Wampeters and Foma. Like he's made up entirely strange words that are nouns.
Yeah.
But I don't really care.
I might
the hell are we talking about?
might be confusing Kurt Vonnegut with Noam Chomsky.
I've seen Noam Chomsky lecture.
I believe you have. Where?
Austin, Texas.
At a university?
In 2003, when the Iraq War was getting good.
Go Wildcats.
Yeah.
Longhorns.
That's the Longhorns.
That's the Iraq University mascot.
Longhorns, a bovine.
This is true. A bovine.
Mm-hmm. Not really an equine.
Not an equine. No, different type of penis entirely.
I don't imagine bovines with penises.
I can't stop imagining. I see that every time I close my eyes.
Ah,
it's terrible. Actually, some would say I'm cursed, but
Yeah.
That's mostly due to the fact that I actually am cursed. A witch put a hex on me
yeah.
when I was younger. And well, wait, who are we?
Well, you can't.
I can't.
Did Vic okay this one?
Well, he okayed it a little too enthusiastically.
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
I told him.
He's from the old country. Is that how you say that?
He's from one of them. Yeah.
One of the old countries.
We're not sure which one.
One of the more close-minded countries.
Whichever one gives you cigarettes instead of money for work.
Uh-huh.
That's
and you
what
drink wine young.
Seemingly, that's what he tries to keep pushing on us. So I said, hey, Vic, this is what we're going to be tonight. And he didn't go into his usual diatribe about how we need to work harder. He just gave me a big thumbs up and a smile. It was really awkward.
So the listeners, well,
we're gonna get a little racy here, right?
This will be our raciest episode.
Our what?
Our raciest.
Just be careful.
Raciest.
Raciest. That we did not.
Am I saying it properly?
We did not say racist.
Race?
We
Not.
said
They're
racist.
not. Yeah. No.
Okay. All
George.
Right. It's a very
George,
very
man.
We move quickly through all this.
You're gonna have to work through some of this unconscious stuff that you're grappling with.
It's extremely conscious. Is the thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
like
It's
Vic.
right there, in your face.
And you can't help like a bovine penis.
Yeah.
But we are
Have you segued yet?
No, you're gonna.
I thought the "we are" comes after a segue.
Orbiter 9.
Orbiter 9 on fire. Just
There's our segue.
That's
This is why I said we've already done this. We've talked about this movie before.
Is this a conscious? This is a conscious segue protest, isn't it?
This is a.
Are you? Is this your?
I am apologizing for ruffling your feathers.
This is sort of Well,
I have deep regret for the fact that I have made you uncomfortable.
You don't make me uncomfortable. But this protest of yours, it reminds me of civil rights protests.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You're not going to segue because this has been done before?
You have a very-
Are you trying to break the dominant paradigm,
You have a
George?
clouded sense of history, my friend. But
Yes? No?
I
Hey, do you know what you call someone who stands up for smokers' rights?
what?
Rosa Sparks.
Oh boy. Well,
What?
Oh, that's about it.
What?
That
was published. I wrote that years ago when people in Austin were trying to go. I had a music column, and I wrote a column, and some dude had started blowing up our paper about how we should be able to smoke cigarettes in the bars still. And I said, "Who are you, Rosa Sparks, man?
That's fantastic.
You gotta, you
Published.
gotta chill. Just go with the
Kevin created a joke. He added that to the zeitgeist. Yeah.
I would also drop H.P. Lovecraft in every article.
Really?
Somehow, yes.
Aye. Look at that. Even back then.
Way back when. Hey, speaking of
Way back?
racism,
Yeah.
H.P. Lovecraft usually gets run over by that tank.
Well, indicative of the time in which he wrote.
Raciest issue ever.
Right? Like it comes down to like, is Mark Twain racist? Because
No!
that's what I mean.
But saying what you're an apologist.
I would say
Must be
I
really.
would say I'm a realist.
This is pretty racy.
We're getting really, really controversial already, and we haven't
Yeah.
even told people who
But
we are.
but George, it must be a big conflict because you're doing this anti-Segway protest,
Mhm.
but at the
No, I'll
same
be down.
time,
I mean,
you're apologizing for H.P. Lovecraft having dark slaves run around and get eaten by monsters while the white people still explored.
Kevin, I
Do you remember
see the error of my way in the actions which perturbed you.
Are you trying to apologize for disturbing
I'm
me?
saying that I'm sorry to bother you.
We can't do this. We've already done this episode, man.
Oh my God, Orbiter 9.
God. Oh.
So
Orbiter 9. At least just let me grasp onto something sci-fi.
Hold on to
Orbiter
something.
9.
Orbiter 9.
Oh, it's an orbiter. You know what sucks about that reference? It
what's that?
happened on Earth.
Happened on Earth. It's not in orbit at all.
Not even, yeah. It's not an orbiter.
It's
a guy who's coming in and
was a bit
having
of a twist.
sex with women they're brainwashing.
Bit of a
Yeah,
twist.
that was creepy, remember?
Really, I don't think we brought that up either.
We did. No, I think it went on record.
We went on record.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's just talk about Orbiter 9 again and litter in sorry to bother you every now and then again.
Sorry to bother you.
So, sorry to bother
Sorry
you.
to bother you.
Sorry to bother you. Boots Riley directed a movie called
Which-
Sorry to... Who?
Already I'm out of it. I'm like, Boots Riley, I don't even know what that means.
I'm like, I am too old.
I mean, he ain't no Jim Henson.
No, Jim.
I just watched The Dark Crystal.
Did you?
Yeah.
With the boy?
With the boy.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we avoiding talking about this movie?
I have a feeling that it's
No,
gonna get a little-
we've done 26 minutes without talking about a
This is
movie
true.
first.
Yeah.
No. This is not avoidance. This is not unconscious needs
We
to
are,
not address. This is our raciest episode ever.
We don't want to address the elephant
Quickness,
in
the
room.
pace.
The pace
Racy?
of it. Racy, like
Is that-
like we're fast.
Yeah,
Like
fast.
a horse.
Yeah.
Who's
Quick like a
running.
horse.
Quick like a horse. Strong like a horse. Maybe even smart.
Hung like a horse.
Hung like a horse. Horse and bovine penis coming together. And, oh, Jesus. All right. We are working really hard to avoid saying who we are, though. Because normally we do
I'll
some
say,
sort of play.
you know what? Tonight we're Black Dude Does Sci-Fi.
That's right.
Yeah.
Black dude does sci-fi.
Yeah.
Gentleman named Boots Riley, who he created a movie called Sorry to Bother You. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about Sorry to Bother You.
It bothered us.
And it's sorry for doing so.
Yeah.
Now, the name of the movie immediately is a little provocative. You know, you can take it as like, okay, it's Sorry to Bother You. It's about a guy who's a telemarketer. You know, hey, how you doing? Sorry to bother you. I'm Cassius, and I'm calling you. But the movie in and of itself is sort of a like, hey, sorry to bother you, but that's what I'm doing right now.
But I'm going
that-
to point out
I don't mean that
shit
in a
about
negative
our
way.
world
Yes.
that you probably don't want to think about.
Probably don't want to think about, but it is it's not untrue. And hopefully you'll think about it a little differently and maybe even have a couple chuckles and be entertained along the way.
Yeah.
You know? So, what the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell, man?
Well, we have an Oakland
We're
in
screwed.
present day. Yeah.
Present day Oakland.
Alternate reality.
Yes. But
So-
but not.
But not really.
Not
well,
far off.
so it's alternate because of where we get to later. Alternate. This movie reminded me of Idiocracy's ability to put a wrestler in the president's
He was a
White House.
wrestler. He's the only man who was both a pro wrestler and a porn star.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
that. President Camacho.
So, yeah, and there's a dude who needs a job, and he gets a job as a telemarketer. And I quickly was reminded of sort of the Repo Man, Alex Cox, Straight to Hell, bizarro stuff that I sort of grew up on just needing to have to watch. And you get introduced to this guy needs to pay rent, guy is a telemarketer situation, and it really is kind of pointing out in that funny kind of crazy outsider look at the criticism of things like dead-end jobs and
And that's where it
cubicle
begins.
life and stuff like that, which is similar to kind of the Repo Man feel.
Which are introducing characters along the way that if you have indulged in these types of jobs, you know some of these people. You know, like you know the guy who's the manager.
Yeah.
Who's just so over enthusiastic and
he's drank the Kool-Aid,
completely
but
in.
like he's probably a scumbag still.
Yeah.
That was a great character. The foreman with the tattoo, like that dude is, you know, as I think about it, I knew a version of him who was a production manager for a theater that I had to bump into quite often, and he was a great guy.
I knew
Different, you know, but just now I'm realizing that I have one.
I knew a version of him who was a prop assistant on a TV show, and was just the same. Because it's not like, oh well, you have to have worked as a telemarketer to know this guy. It's that spirit and that attitude, you know, like that. I am completely sold on what we are doing, even if what we are doing is semi-meaningless and perhaps even destructive.
If and in that kind of like maybe a little cracked,
Maybe a little cracked up, like
the
maybe a
guy's
little
got
crazy.
religion kind of
Yeah.
cracked, you know, where you're like, this guy likes this.
Yeah.
It's really, this fills his sails.
Yeah, and this is where what we're treated to is the life of Cassius as he moves about.
Cash is green.
Cash is green.
Cash is green.
Cash is green is his name. As he moves about Oakland, navigates a relationship with a woman who is an artist, his friends, his family, brilliant uncle played by Terry Crews. I fucking love Terry Crews, and then the movie kind of starts to spin a little bit when we're introduced to Danny Glover's character.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny Glover is a seasoned veteran who tries to give Cassius some tips. And one of the things that he tells him to do, and this is also, we've also already been littered, we've been thrust into a bit of a sci-fi world because every time Cassius makes these calls, he's seemingly teleported
into where the phone
where
ring,
the
where
phone
the phone
rings.
will ring.
And he is seeing these people, he's interacting with them. We're never told if this is like just a storytelling device. It doesn't matter. Like
Totally smart.
totally smart
And cool.
and very cool and well done. And then Danny Glover introduces him to this concept of using his white voice.
Because these are Cassius is a black dude
Yeah.
from Oakland.
And the way it's described is really delicate and funny. It's the white voice that even white people wish they had. Like, you've never been fired, you've only been laid off. You don't worry about not paying your bills. It's an idealistic kind of way of and so then David Cross does the voice of Cassius's white voice, which he slips in and out of when he's talking to customers.
Yeah.
And you know, he again, we're like, this could be just a simple mechanism for the storytelling where he's sort of like going in and out of this parody of a white voice, but he does it in front of his friends, and his friends are spooked by it. Like, because it's a full-on shift in who he is and who his character is. Like, and again, like, we've got some more sci-fi elements. He can now slip in and out of this white voice, and it's seemingly something that few people can do and gets you ahead in this world.
Because the whole time that guy we're talking about, who's the floor manager, who drank the Kool-Aid, they're always talking about becoming a power caller.
Right. Like
power caller.
This whole building.
And you know that bullshit, that's that corporate bullshit, dude, of just like, almost to the point like where I didn't know if they'd take power caller anywhere because it's such, it would be, it's almost like, what's the Office Space? Just sort of I don't know if there's a line or something, but it's just like you would know it would play somewhere. It would just be a part of office culture movie.
Right.
Something out of The Office even.
Like this whole building is apparently filled with telemarketers. The power callers utilize a golden elevator that only they can get into, and there's this mythos around them. And the whole time that this is going on, we are littered with just different references to an Oakland that is not the Oakland of our world. There is a company called Worry Free.
Yep.
Run by a billionaire CEO named Stephen Lift.
Who's like a coke snorting new age guru asshole.
And basically what they do is you sign up with them, they provide your room, 3 meals a day, and you work for them.
And then corporations can hire worry-free people to do whatever they need to do for them. And then there's these commercials, a la dystopic alternate reality stuff where like they're sort of bumming but sort of like saying worry-free, it's great. And that reminds me of Idiocracy. There's also a game show.
Yeah, I got some like RoboCop feel from it too.
Yeah.
Like, there was definitely some OCP stuff, and like I remember in RoboCop when they had like the commercials for the board games and stuff like that. That was the feel I got when they have the beat the shit out of me or something.
Yeah, which is Ow My Balls from Idiocracy.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah.
So the cool culty spaces, those lenses by which to show how we're fucking morons.
Yeah.
And here we go. Cause guess what? We're fucked. And we're fucking morons.
Yeah.
And sorry to bother you, but that's getting pointed out.
Yeah.
To you.
Yeah. Not
if
subtly.
you didn't think there was a race issue in this country, sorry to fucking bother you. There is. Almost to the point where I felt helpless. I don't think that movie was supposed to rally me. It was speaking to the choir as far as I am aligned with human liberty. But at the same time, I felt kept out. Like, stay the fuck out. Don't fuck with our scene. You're part of the fucking problem, dick.
Right. Well,
and I left that movie bummed. Like I wished it wasn't in my head, which I usually feel about watching like graphic violence. And it took me days to realize I'd watched a cool fucking movie.
And that's a genuine response that you just described to, a piece of art. Like, what I found telling is as I'm watching it, I am such a byproduct of this bullshit without being necessarily consistently aware of it, that I am actually rooting for like the worry free. I'm hoping Cassius like drinks the Kool-Aid and like no man, you're this close to a life of ease and comfort by simply selling out.
Because he's watching these commercials with his girlfriend, and he's making reference that maybe he might do it, right? The straights are that hard for him. He's living in his uncle's garage, as we stated. The uncle's house is going to foreclose, and he's the uncle actually was going to join.
The uncle
Worry
is going to
Free.
join Worry Free. Yeah.
It's a viable solution, and that shit's scary. We might need corporate protectors when resources go scarce. and I believe they'll call the shots.
We get to a point where Cassius is promoted to power caller and walks over his friends, some of them seemingly lifelong friends. The scene in which he is having a verbal confrontation with his good friend and they're just complimenting each other endlessly is kind of brilliant.
Yeah,
He's like, you got something you want to say? Yeah, you smell great. No, you smell great. What is that?
Yeah,
It's fucking fantastic. I hope your day is great. Yeah, I hope your week is fantastic, man.
And the power callers break the strike line because the telemarketers strike. So you've got a really grounded union message, and
he is he all of a sudden like that becomes part of basically like the 1%. You know, he is thrust into power and money.
He gets a badass new condo.
But to do so, he's got to degrade himself morally. He gets in cahoots with Worry Free as he finds out that basically what these power callers do is they sell the people that Worry Free own, essentially. Worry Free,
and they sell weapons and stuff, right? Like it's like yeah.
But I mean, they say like 90% of what they do is they sell. Basically, you sign up with Worry Free, you are signing yourself into slavery. Like, you are signing yourself up. You are in debt to this corporation. They own you, and they will sell you to whatever workforce they want. And that's... It could have just trucked along on that message.
And it should also, not only is there a strike, but there is an underground who's spray painting throughout the streets. And that just reminds me, there's almost like a trauma film aspect to like the way the sets felt small, like it was just 50 people shaking signs who was the strike.
There was
the pieces that the spray paint appearing, which was again really cool in that cult way.
And there was an independent feel, but not really, because it was slick. It was a well done movie, like it felt much more polished than a lot of the like more culty flicks that I saw in like the 80s and 90s, but still like intimate.
But so it could have just wrote it out there on him being a power caller.
Could have wrote it on there on him being a power caller, and this is again like sorry to bother you, but I'm going to point out bias that you didn't even know you fucking had, George. Did you? Well, no. I mean,
are you guilty by association? And that's what's tough, man.
Well, this movie makes me realize, and again, one of our racier episodes. Raciest, probably. It makes me realize, like, what a product of privilege that I am, that I can even walk out of this movie and go, well, I don't need to worry about that, But like you said, I don't think I could have said it better. It aligns with my basic ideology of
you're just saying that, George.
What is right and what is wrong.
Of course.
Like it's pretty clear, but it makes me uncomfortable to have these things confront me.
Well, so are you marginalized when I see my kid 3 hours a day? Should I give one more hour to protesting? Or should I be with my kid 3 hours a day?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in that, and what I
mean, don't we want just or am I straight? Am I already in Worry Free?
Well, there's because what I generally go with that is, I'm raising him so that if he wants to, he can do these things.
Join Worry Free.
Join Worry Free or not. Or join, what is it?
Getting a water line. It's going to be water line.
It's going to be
coming
water
down
line,
the water.
Man,
It's fucking scary.
Yeah. So then the entire fucking, I mean, almost to the detriment of the message that the movie is presenting, the movie spins itself completely with a reveal in the third act that is like, what?
But like it totally it slid right in.
It completely and it makes sense. Like it does. At no point was I like, oh whoa, we're in a different fucking universe now. It made sense with everything that they had lined up already that this would kind of be the next, completely out of left field, but also like kind of logical step in what this corporation is doing. And I mean, basically, they're humans are, we're fucking done with humans. Human beings they're finite, they're weak, they complain. They want their hour a day to watch television and stuff like that. So we need an entire.
Want to be with their kids?
Yeah, fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
we need a whole new race. I don't know.
And we're gonna mix horse genes into the human genes because the horse has always done great things.
Equisapiens.
Oddly enough, Yuval Harari asked us to consider the horse and what it must have liked to have been a horse having a role when the motor car came about. And he asks us to think about when artificial intelligence does come to play a larger role in our lives, will we be like the horse to the motor car?
Jeez.
And what world are useless? And I always think of the people in the movie WALL-E, leisurely and fat, floating around.
Right.
If we're lucky, that's what our masters will have us do.
Yeah.
They could decide that we'd be better as horse genes,
And that's
spliced
that's
with
where
humanity.
In a like pretty spectacularly comic setup, the CEO of Worry Free reveals that we're splicing horse and human DNA. We're making equisapiens, and they're going to be the next evolution of mankind. And Cassius, we want you to go in there and be our horseman on the inside.
Our Martin Luther King.
Our Martin Luther King of the... Because they've played it all out. They've done the math. They know that these equisapiens are going to form a society which will then want to rise up, and they'll look for some sort of a civil rights leader. So why not have that civil rights leader already in our pocket?
Yeah.
And so that's where they're going with this. And so then it's great. I mean, it's fucking really cool, and they do it. And I'm not realizing until like having this conversation how much I really enjoyed this movie, because I believe my want is to separate the movie from the message.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
and go like, well, I didn't love how they always portrayed Cassius was kind of portrayed a little uneven.
When I was doing some reading, most white reviewers of this said that, George.
Yeah. So I
right
have
into
to
a trap.
line
I'm the guy
myself.
on the inside.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You're the horse Martin Luther King.
Rosa Sparks.
You're the Rosa
Thank
Sparks.
You.
That
Thank
makes
you.
sense with the Marlboro 100s you used to smoke in about 40 seconds.
God. No. I'd smoked them, and they were 4 cigarettes in one.
Mm-hmm.
I as I began to just think about what to cast about tonight, I did say, okay, science fiction, alternative reality. Can this be a movie and not just a message? And I think it absolutely can. And but you can't separate it. And then we get into like critiquing movies. It was a great movie. I think if you had to, if you separate this movie from the message, and it's not such a punch in the gut and sorry to bother you, you've got a fucking crazy ass bizarre cult flick with a totally killer twist.
If you show
and the bad guy gets it in the end, basically.
Like, I'm trying to think of movies that I might have seen at 14, that where the bigger message was completely lost on me.
Right.
But I still dug it.
That's
like, if I show this movie to a 14-year-old, they're going to go, oh, yeah, that fucking cool movie about, the huge corporation who's trying to take over the earth, and then they want the horsemen to replace humans, and, yeah, and it's funny. Mm-hmm. And
that's the worry-free edit of this movie,
right.
By the way. Thank God for casuistry. Did I just have a stroke?
Did you have a stroke on air?
I think there's another word for rationalization that I saw in a Dostoevsky translation when I was at Yale.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Go Wildcats.
Yeah, Yale Wildcats. Woo! Yeah. Yeah, I did the introduction for Chomsky there.
You went to Yale?
I wrote the notes.
You went to Yale too?
Yale 2. Yes.
Yale
to Southern Texas University.
Yes, the sequel to Yale.
Yale 2.
When they came west, they're like, we need another Yale, guys.
Yeah, YAIL.
Yeah,
Yale.
Yeah, Yale.
2, Southwestern Community College.
I went to Yule.
Yeah, you'll.
Yeah, by ULL.
You'll be glad you went
You'll
here.
be glad you went here when you see our bill.
Yeah.
They'll never find me.
Mm-hmm.
So
they?
did you at any point wish this movie was more science fiction? You know?
Sort of, like, because it was a date night, and I think Nora said it's sci-fi comedy, and then I looked and it said so, and it certainly is, but
it is billed as that.
I thought it would get weirder, and it stayed grounded, and again, I felt kept out of this, and not just the bullshit white guilt crap. Like, I felt older than this movie.
So
like I
this
wouldn't have
for
just
us.
got out, and like I just felt like it was speaking to another generation in a way.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm old and I'm white and I'm tired.
That is one of my like my immediate reaction to just kind of go, wait, no, with this movie is that I'm like, oh, you're trying to be this, but this was already that.
Well, I felt like so let me say this. I felt like it was hopeful for someone else.
Well, yeah.
Like a younger set who like
what am I
tweets like people who I don't know,
because I was sort of watching
fucking jaded. I don't know. I don't think I'm jaded. I'm just fucking marginalized in my own fucking way.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Fuck.
I was watching it and I was kind of going like,
comfort is conformity, man. You know who said that?
Kurt Vonnegut.
Gigi Allen. Do you know who Gigi Allen is?
No.
Don't worry about it. Google it. Not on a
not
work
on
computer.
not on right
do
now.
not do it on a work computer.
So I'm watching this movie and I am I'm getting it's not subtle. You know, it's not a subtle message that they're trying. But when it ended, I was sort of left with like okay, but what am I missing? Like what is the element that I don't have that is
Melanin.
okay. So
Melanin.
So that's it. Then this movie is entirely different. If I am a black dude that does sci-fi, you know.
No,
No,
you can't
we
say
can't
that, man. Jesus Christ, George. Come
I
to the
didn't
mic.
say it.
The listeners, hey, I'm going to sign this to you.
Boots Riley said it.
Okay? Capiche?
So like I was saying, back in
You're never going to come out
no,
of
I'm not
this,
coming
man.
out of this one, man. We've lost them all.
They did. This is it.
Every single one.
No,
all the
no,
listeners are now. We slowly whittled away. First we took out first we took out the women just by being.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Then I think the Italians went because they saw my last name and they're like, this guy doesn't. Sound
We lost
like
the
he's
Vietnam
Italian.
vets. We lost the blind.
vets.
We lost the deaf.
We always.
That shit all fell on deaf ears. By the
Isn't
way,
it
but
amazing that we
tried to get him back?
We lost the deaf.
Well, the signing. Who knew that was actually
offensive?
Literate. I didn't know it translated.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
But I think it's an accomplishment that that a podcast lost the deaf.
Yeah.
So.
We lost the deaf. We've lost.
All right, let's get them back. Let's get them all back.
So if we yell really loud, do you think the deaf will
I
hear
don't
us?
mean the deaf. I mean everybody. Everybody.
Oh, everybody.
Because I mean, that's part of the. I mean, one of the really cool things about this movie is that it gets to be made and it gets to have this conversation. You know, like we get to sit down, we get to realize, fuck, man, like there's a whole lot of people that have it a whole lot shittier than I have it.
Mm-hmm.
And even though like I go, this movie doesn't speak to me as much as something from when I was younger and a little bit more idealistic does speak to me. A whole new generation is looking at this movie and going, yeah, this is my Repo Man. And
maybe. I mean, they have to know what Repo Man is to know that.
Yeah. But I mean, it's an important flick, and
it is, with one caveat. I mean, is it all under the thumb of Steve Lift or whoever he might be? That's obviously totally grim and cynical.
But I mean, the thing is,
that's what the movie is.
He wins.
It really says there's no, like I didn't go, wow, unions, they should work.
No,
like I said, maybe there was a hope that I didn't get to get.
So in a scene in this movie,
I'm happy to say that I was raised in such a way where like I wasn't going, what the fuck?
Well,
when I watched this.
Well, you're fucking. You've got basic human compassion. Yes. I think that's what it really comes down to. Is this like or I'll just speak for myself. Am I more interested in my own dealings and like my own little world, or do I care enough to want to help other people? Not to actually help other people, but just to want to help other people. And like this movie, there's a scene in it where Cassius Green decides to go on the Beat the Shit Out of Me show just so he can get out the message that Steve Lift is a complete fucking crazy lunatic. And what ends up happening is worry-free goes through the roof as far as the stock market goes. Congress is like, you're our hero. The economy is saved. And I'm like, that's what would fucking happen now, man. Like, that is exactly the hero, in quotes, would go on TV, say, you need to write your congressman, you need to be on the phone, you need to do something, take some action, get in the streets, and people would just be like, what, I fucking gotta watch who beats the shit out of you tonight?
And that's the meta cynical idea about being under Steve Lift's thumb.
Right.
Today we all voted.
Right.
And voting seems different today than it has in years past.
I agree.
And has it not been commodified, or at least social mediafied? I saw people posing for pictures as I walked in. Like, in just the regular old picture you'd take, and it's something to be proud of. I also saw a picture of someone who got to vote for the first time because they were 18 and a half now. Some basic things we have, which are totally cool. Rites of passage, right? I voted for Frank Zappa when I was 18. Bill Clinton won.
Yeah.
And
Frank Zappa did not win.
Zappa was, well, I think he was dying of cancer then at that point, but I was raised to vote for Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
But is not the whole thing just corrupt?
Yes.
And,
well, I mean, to say yes is an easy and so cynical thing to do.
So on the ground, there are people working for justice. And so whether or not the whole thing is under someone's thumb, someone must fight against the incorporated corporations so that human liberty can rise above.
This movie...
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
he
I don't know.
manages, and it ends before it ends. Like, with Cassius back in pretty much the same situation in which the movie started. He's got a job that is now a union job. He's no longer the power caller millionaire, and he's still living in the garage of his uncle. But he has managed to carve out a piece of personal happiness in this. And that was the happy ending, I felt like. Like that was even though then then he turns into a fucking
he looks
horse.
in the mirror, and he'd been given the equisapien drug by Steve Lift at a scene earlier at the beginning of the third act.
Yeah. In which Steve Lift's entire pitch hinges on two things. He says, first of all, 5 years as my horseman among many, and you get $100 million, and then we turn you back to normal. And number two, you're going to have a horse cock.
Yeah.
Which are prominently on display in all the equisapiens that we see in this movie.
So he does the transformation. Sure enough, he wasn't given cocaine. He was tricked, and he was given the horse transformation drug. And we watch him ring the buzzer at the gate of Steve Lift's mansion, say, sorry to bother you. And then he and a horse gang are shown in the house about to fucking tear shit up.
Yeah.
And
which
again,
paves
so
the way to
already, if has Cassius Green gone with the plan? Is he
they've won.
already MLK'd? Well, did he agree to the deal? And this is the beginning of the rise up.
And now he's rising. Yeah.
You know, you don't know if we missed a conversation somewhere in there. I didn't think that at first. I thought absolutely justice was being served to Steve Lift for being a scumbag. But
that actually makes me want to go back and see if there's any little clue in there.
I don't.
You know,
I think
mean,
it probably could be found. It's probably not.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the idea that dude in this world, I think, needs to get iced. I can't imagine in a movie that bothered me this much would leave it open-ended. The dude needs to get torn apart by horsemen.
Yeah.
Is what needs to happen.
Well, I mean,
turned into a horseman.
Yeah, we don't know what...
Like, make him take his own drugs.
We don't know what amount of time has passed from where it goes to credits, where he's just got the horse nose, and then it picks up again, and he's a full horseman. It's a really interesting idea that, like, you know, he at some point did give Steve Lift a call and go, all right, motherfucker, you got me. So I'm in.
There was a guy who wrote a series of journals called Commodify Your Dissent, and he was a dude named Thomas Frank. And it always intrigued me he also wrote a great book called The Conquest of Cool about how the ad man hijacked the hippies movement to sell 7-Up to hippies, but in the 60s. But has your dissent, and in many ways our vote this time around is a dissent. There are memes showing characters from different movies, a happy-go-lucky version of how they voted in 2016 versus the 2018 vote. Has it not all been put within 4 walls?
Yeah, without a doubt. And
I hope not. Trust me.
But that's the world we live in.
It's not like I'm going to rest on my laurels, you know, just because I can't sit back and go, you know what, I'm down with Noam Chomsky and let it ride. But it's tough what this movie points out. People are in fucking dire straits.
Yeah.
I have guys. So there's a phrase called code switching. Code switching is basically the actual expression of the white guy voice that is jokingly referred to there, and how people of different races have to be like the colonizer or the dominant patriarchy. And like, how strange is that to be like, people have to code switch when I'm around, and how largely shame-filled that is. And
less, exactly. I mean, there's a scene where Cassius is at a party, and he's the novelty, you know, and that's it. It's tough. It's a tough,
fucking hard to
tough
watch
moment. It's a tough scene in which, you know, they
make him rap.
They make him rap, you know. And
they love it the more. He doesn't know how to rap, but as soon as he starts cussing
and dropping the N-word,
people
love it. And you've got a party filled with some of the whitest people in the world singing the N-word along with him and loving it. And it's a very affecting scene. Like, I mean, to the level of, like, some really good, like, racially charged drama that you know, it's yet at no point is it it's a comedy and a sci-fi movie with like a really, really smart spin, message, and delivery, man.
Yeah,
It's
and I'd say I didn't have time. I watched this a bit ago. I wanted to watch this again. I think to enjoy it, having been so bothered for the first time, because it's just cool. His girlfriend's got the baddest ass earrings the whole time, and it's just like message.
Yeah,
and just
they're
blatantly
literally-
says shit, and it's like
They're just
it's totally
messages on
smart,
it, yeah.
and it totally fits her style though.
Yeah.
It like it's man, well done.
What is his girlfriend is an artist, a performance artist.
Yeah.
And there are certain scenes where there's a scene where she's got a show going on, and her show is entirely it's a lot of artwork that involves Africa, and then she does a performance art piece, and she's putting on an accent when she is talking to people about her art. And there was a moment where
Oh no, she totally does. She did the
Yeah.
She whored herself
she
out,
whored herself
just
out,
like
yeah.
he did.
Exactly. And it's a great character moment where she spends a lot of the movie, judging him for how morally bankrupt he
Or
is.
just
and how
kind of
he's
riding him like
riding him a bit, yeah.
like you're someone who loved you could. But
Yeah.
yeah, I get you what you're saying.
But and then it's her moment to shine, and she is doing a lot of the same thing. She's not using her white voice. She's using a different type of
Her
code switch.
selling to
Yeah.
collectors
Yeah.
voice,
Mm-hmm.
which is a real thing also.
Exactly.
We're fucked.
We're fucked.
We're
man.
fucked, man. Raise them
are.
well, dude.
Seriously.
Go play catch in the backyard.
Because that's
and
it. I mean,
collect
and that,
water.
And that is, I think, another thing, like we were just saying, this movie serves up is carve out your piece of fucking personal happiness, man. Find your garage and your
think of others.
cool artist girlfriend, and help your uncle pay his bills. Because the world as a whole is out of our fucking control and in the hands of people that want to turn us into fucking horses.
And there are people who say we have maybe 3 decades to straighten out.
straighten this out. Yeah.
So
So
have a great fucking week.
have a great.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor. Seek this movie out.
Yes.
It's without a doubt worth it.
Take acid and watch it. I should say that, like cult films, there was a younger me who would suggest that everyone should alter their minds before watching this movie.
A friend of mine told me yesterday that they dropped acid before they went to go see Star Wars at the drive-in, and this is the only thing that they mentioned, but they said the scene where R2-D2 and C-3PO are walking in the desert,
Yeah.
and the only thing going through my mind at the time was, why are robots in the desert?
Yeah. Like, won't sand get in their gears, man?
I completely understood how uncomfortable that made him.
Yeah.
Why are robots in the desert, man? They're gonna get screwed.
Oh, man.
So, I wonder if
That's
you
because
would...
Jim Morrison went to the desert, man.
He did.
That's the
He
answer.
did, so we wouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except-
That was Jesus. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
I get those two
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah.
I wonder if you did take acid and watch this movie, if you would...
Cry and freak out.
No, I wonder if you would just see it as a movie. You know, if you
For
would
me,
just-
it would be awful. I
Well,
don't
oh
need-
yeah, yeah.
The doors of perception, man, are
Okay,
open.
so-
I don't need to.
That'd be awful for a lot of people.
Pink Floyd, The Wall, Akira, yeah.
Yeah,
There were many.
the entire series of Undeclared by Judd Apatow. Absolutely.
No.
You don't. It
Yeah.
doesn't always need to be.
Every
It
episode
doesn't always
of
need to be-
Friends on acid.
It doesn't need to be weird, man. It doesn't need to be like Dark Side of the Moon and Wizard of Oz.
I'm pretty sure it does.
does.
It's pretty sure it does.
It's always got to
You
be
start
weird.
that at the third roar.
I know that.
by the way.
Yeah.
Third roar, buddy.
What is
I've
the-
seen that on the big screen.
What is
done
the-
at the Alamo Draft House in Austin, Texas.
So was that entirely intentional on
I
behalf
don't
of
think
Pink
so.
Floyd?
I
That's
think it's-
that's an accident.
Yes,
Wow.
I think it's been come up with. There's Google about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that more than anything else makes me feel like there are so many external forces at work that I have absolutely no idea about. You know, like
Yeah,
there's
no, that was
the
just
whole,
a CIA thing to make people drop in and drop out.
So the whole Berenstein and Berenstain Bears thing. You know, that's like
I have no idea what that is.
you don't. You haven't heard about?
No.
Do you know what the Berenstain Bears are?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know? All right. So did you know it as the Berenstein Bears or the Berenstain Bears?
Berenstein.
It's never been the Berenstein Bears. It's always been
got
the
a name?
Berenstain Bears. And there's a flock of people that have always known it as the Berenstein Bears.
But just because you don't pronounce Steen or Stein?
No. It's not EIN. It's AIN.
Oh, it
books
is?
say
Then those are the Berenstain Bears.
The books say the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's as far as it gets?
Well, it's just like people think that then the extension of that is this is when you drop acid
Sorry to
before
bother
you see
you,
Star
George.
Wars.
Yeah.
People think
I
that
can't let
there
you-
was an alternate reality at some point that blended with our own, and that's why some of the people think that it's Berenstain Bears and some people think it's Berenstein Bears. It's like some people remember Nelson Mandela dying in a prison.
Have I told you
in the
about
90s.
the time portals that we opened up in Montauk?
Did you?
I did.
You did it? Yes, you
No,
did. Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, you told me about the time portals.
Yeah, there might be a whole set of people who call it the Berenstein Bears because they had a reset in a different time stream.
So have you heard that Stephen Hawking said that proof that time travel will never be possible is that we are constantly not inundated with tourists from the future?
Say it again.
Time travel will never be possible because we are not right now constantly aware of tourists from the future. That is not a known entity. That we don't walk around and just like bump into people who are from like the year 3000. You know?
Because it would already be happening.
It would already, yeah. It would just be normalcy for us right now. The fact that there is nobody who is just like time travel will never be
Yeah.
possible because I mean that's fucking trippy idea.
It's
but like
pretty simple,
when
right?
you think about like, all right, so say 200 years time travel becomes possible for the first time. 1,000 years after that, it's normal. So we would just right now be constantly running into people from the year 3000.
Unless the Greys and the Orions and the Reptilians are keeping it under wraps.
Yeah.
Which Stephen Hawking was probably one of them.
We're talking about the Italians again, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're gonna lose them.
The people from the old
The
country.
old country.
We're going to lose them. We might have joined them. It depends on what kind of Italian
I
you are.
hope so.
We either lost you or we gained you.
One of the good ones? Or
Yeah.
not.
He's a good one.
He's a good one.
Yeah.
Thanks, George.
That's-
You're
yeah.
one of the good ones.
What do you mean by that? You can't.
Why did you vote for Frank Zappa for president?
I think it was a bumper sticker.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, because, that's how serious I thought of things back then.
You know who I voted for?
No.
Dweezil Zappa.
Yeah. This year, you wrote it in, didn't you?
Sure.
That's the lesser Zappa, George.
Oh, lesser than Ahmed?
No. He's
No,
higher than
he's
Ahmed.
higher than
Lesser
Ahmed,
than
so
Frank.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's right in the middle, which I like.
But
Yeah.
Moon Unit.
Moon Unit was a Zappa?
Yeah.
Oh, man. What did he do?
He did great things.
No, I mean Frank. What did he do to his...
He did great things.
Oh, he did great things. Yeah.
Moon Unit, man.
Moon Unit Zappa.
Yeah.
Moon Unit, like this movie.
Moon Unit.
Moon
no,
Units.
no, it's not.
Horse Unit.
Horse
Yeah.
Unit. Horse Junk. Space Junk.
Space Junk. Great Wang Chung song.
It's a great Devo song. It's a Wang Chung song
It's
also?
a Wang Chung song. It's not a Devo song.
Maybe Devo's covering Wang Chung? No. I bet they're completely different.
I bet they're
occurring.
completely
This is
different
the Berenstain
songs, man.
Bears
This is it right
of 80s
now.
music. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is wild.
Uh,
I bet you're not sorry we bothered you now.
ladies
listener.
and gentlemen, do me a favor. Go on YouTube and check out Space Junk by Wang Chung, and then check out Space Junk by Devo. And hop on over to busydadsdosci-fi.com or email us at busydadsdosci-fi@gmail.com. Or, this is probably a better one, hop on Instagram. Give us a follow at Busy Dads Do Sci-Fi. It's amazing. They're all Busy Dads Do Sci-Fi.
Or you could hop on Pop, which is not a Berenstain Bears, but it's a Dr. Suez.
Dr. Suez.
Suez. book.
Suez. Theodore Geisel is what I call him. Because that's what
The Geis.
The Geis, man.
The Geyser.
The Geyser.
The Geyser.
Classic Geyser.
Oh, he's just gushing.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Horse cock.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
disgusting.
there you go, George.
There.
You're just gonna say horse cock and then press stop on the recording?
Horse cock.
Yeah.